Paranormal Punches is part of the Podbelly Network. Go to podbelly.com for more great podcasts.
Hey y'all, this is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I'm Dave.
And this time we're going to talk about a place that lovingly is referred to as the House of Death. Up at 14 West 10th Street, New York, New York. This place apparently has 22 ghosts, so I think this should be a super fun episode. And Nash, you have a shout out you would like to do.
I do. I just want to have I want to just take a quick second to say congratulations. We've got a couple of listeners who are actually getting married at this very, very spot today because we're recording on a Saturday. So Cassidy Weaver, Jake Brady, I want to say congratulations. And it's a new step in your new lives together. Yeah. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Awesome. All right. Maybe we'll send him a wedding present. Paranormal Puncher's wedding present. Once I figure out what the heck that is.
Right.
All right. Why don't we dive into this spooky house?
All right. Well, the House of Death has a very beautiful and charming exterior, but on the inside of this brownstone home in Greenwich Village, Greenwich Village. I don't think I'm saying it right.
No, you got it. Greenwich.
Okay. It is riddled with spirits that apparently will not leave. Since its construction in the 1850s, 22 people have reportedly died in this home. Originally, this home was a single-family home, and it didn't start out as a haunted hotspot. But towards the late 1800s, there were some incidents of bad luck that began its journey toward the name House of Death. The first recorded incident occurred in 1897 when cycling celebrity Fred H. Andrew lived there. During a moment of, and I have this in quotes, reckless bicycle riding.
Now were those bikes at that time the big single wheel in front, or was that?
And he's trying to jump like a ramp.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
He's trying to go like down a mountain, or I don't know. He's trying to do something on one of those bikes.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but he ended up hitting a young boy, causing the boy to get a broken leg. He got arrested after that. So
he got arrested for extreme bicycling.
Yes.
We do have a correction. Hold on, Dave.
It's Greenwich Village.
Greenwich. Okay, thank you. I knew I wasn't saying it right.
Greenwich versus Greenwich.
I can tell you right
Greenwich.
now, everybody listening in New York was screaming.
I know. I'm so sorry about
Island
that.
of Manhattan is coming after it with the stakes and pitchforks right now.
Now, there have been several notable residents in this house, but the most famous tenant was Samuel Clemens, also known as Mark Twain. Twain only lived there for a little over a year, and he actually died in Connecticut, but he is one of the ghosts that has been seen here. Now, Mark, did you get some info on...
Yeah, just the deets you just read.
Oh.
No, I'm kidding. So people have reported seeing his spirit walking around up and down the first floor staircase, walking up and down in and around that particular area. Now, Mark Twain was very much a skeptic of the paranormal.
He sure was.
He really didn't believe it. But he did write about an experience he had in this brownstone where he was chilling in his house. And he looked over and a piece of the firewood was kind of like up and moving on its own. Now, being a skeptic, he thought it's probably just a rat. So, like most people do, he whipped out his pistol and shot it.
Because that's what you do in a house with a bunch of other people.
Right.
And the log fell to the ground, and he went over, and there was a couple drops of blood around it. Oh. But no rat. So, but he feels like it had to be a rat just because he couldn't find one. And, being a skeptic, he moved on. Now, I do love that he is just sitting around the fireplace with a pistol. Yeah. That was pretty funny. Now, Later, after he was gone and passed away, this new resident to the building, his mom and daughter, bumped into Mark Twain's ghost. And he just looked at them and said, "My name is Clemens. Now I has a problem here I got to settle." And then vanished in front of their eyes.
I wonder what the problem was.
Well, yeah, what does he...
Well, I think when he was living there, I thought I read that he was deep in debt. So he was trying to figure out, write some more and then try to solve that problem. But
So I think because he was deep in debt, he was trying to get back his rental deposit.
I don't know.
And because they were like, dude, you put a hole in the floor and we're not going to give you your deposit back.
Right.
You sprayed blood all over the place. And he was like, no, I need my deposit back. I need some money. I think that was the problem he's trying to solve.
Or if he was in debt, maybe he was trying to settle his debts.
Right.
Could be. You never know.
Either one's plausible. Right?
Either one.
Or maybe he's just trying to figure out what it was that was carrying the log. I mean, it does seem kind of weird. Maybe I'm out of touch and rats typically do this kind of thing, but I wouldn't expect a rat to pick up a wooden log
Right.
and start making it look like it's what did it do? Have it on his back?
Like the rat's trying to make it look like it's floating in the air just to mess
Right.
with them.
Yeah, like
New
number
York
one,
rats are a whole different
Yeah, I
breed.
was going to say, you never know. It's a New York rat.
it's like, are they like, to me, if a rat's going to, why would a rat decide to grab a log in the first place? But then it's either going to grab a hold and pull it, or maybe push it. It's not going to put it on its back,
Right.
like a
or something.
backpack or like a saddle or
Right.
something like that.
So that's just weird.
Well,
Right.
I mean, we've seen rats in the kitchen making food in the documentary Ratatouille.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So I mean, this one could have been just a rat in body, but in a lumberjack in spirit.
Right. Well, and don't forget the most famous New York rat,
Pizza rat.
Splinter.
That's right. That's exactly right. He could have been doing some training, some weight training.
I don't know. Splinter is I guess, kind of a famous New York rat. But come on, Pizza Rat.
Oh, the rat,
The rat that was dragging that whole slice of pizza
I
down
remember
the steps?
seeing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's pretty famous now.
Yeah.
So rats will do anything. You never know. We just don't know about rat kind.
Oh boy. Now, it was converted from a single family home into a 10-unit apartment building in 1937. So 10 units. It must have been,
It's a pretty good sized place.
yeah, it must have been huge. Now, in 1957, Jan Bryant Bartell, she was an actress, she moved into the house next door, so number 16, and began to see and experience different psychic phenomena. She would hear noises, have visions, and generally have a feeling of dread and uneasiness. She ended up moving next door to the House of Death, but she still felt the presence of ghosts, including a very strong feeling that Twain was still there. Now, some of the things that she experienced there, she felt a monstrous moving shadow that loomed up behind her.
That's awesome.
She felt a hairbrush against the back of her neck, but there was nothing there. So, I guess the ghost was trying to brush her hair. I don't
weird.
know.
That's kind of weird.
Buffalo Bill.
It puts lotion on.
She smelled a rotting odor throughout the apartment. Food would suddenly appear on the table, even though they had never purchased it, and it would already be rotting. Like it'd been there for days. For example, she said a shriveled up grape appeared on a dinner plate, even though they hadn't bought grapes in months.
That was no grape.
I know.
That was from that rat that was messing with Mark Twain.
That's right.
There are many small animals would often become very aggressive for no reason, and their one dog would growl at one of their chairs, like somebody was sitting there.
Dogs do some pretty strange stuff.
They do. They do. They would have shadows that light just couldn't penetrate. So, that's kind of creepy. Furniture would be moved to a different spot, and she would hear crashing glass around the apartment. And then in her memoir, because she did write a book after she left there, she wrote that one day she had a vision of a man, and she reached out to touch him. Mm-hmm. She touched and this is a quote from her book, substance without substance, chilly, damp, diaphanous as marsh mist or a cloud of ether. I could feel my fingers freeze at the tips. They were numb, and yet they tingled. In the split second between contact and recoil, the scent came, fragile and languorous and sweet, unbearably, cloyingly sweet. So not only do they smell rotting, they also were smelling some sweet smells. So,
Well, she is a wordsmith. I mean, from
I know.
that quotation, it's like, that's a nicely put together sentence. My goodness.
I know. That's a mouthful. At one point, a medium and a paranormal investigator, they were called to come in and investigate. And they felt that there was something, or maybe many things, dead under the floorboard.
Yeah, the medium, when she got there, as soon as she got in the house, she was like, okay, look, there's something dead under the floorboards.
Mm-hmm.
A young girl with curly blue eyes and a tiny nose and an aborted child.
Yep.
And a dead cat.
And a dead gray cat.
Yep, a gray cat.
Yeah.
And it was said that she like snapped into like a trance and started speaking as she was a spirit.
And they said there was, 20? She found like 22 different spirits in the house or something like that?
I think that's where the whole 22 spirits came from, was from that
the
medium.
Yeah, when she went into that trance, she started speaking as somebody called Rennie Mallison, who was 19 years old, born in 1848. She blamed President, this is all coming out of the medium's mouth.
Yes.
She blamed President Lincoln for killing her husband in the Civil War, and she was wailing about her aborted child.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. When the medium was overtaken by the spirit, the paranormal investigator ordered the spirit to leave the residence. Now, the spirit didn't like that and said through the medium,
Never. I will never leave here. I don't know why spirit sounded like that. But.
they will have to go. This is my home. I will never leave. So they tried to cleanse the house, but were unsuccessful.
I want to know how many times, how often that happens where somebody tries to go in and cleanse a house and it doesn't work.
Well, the Hinsdale house
Yeah.
Yeah.
didn't work there.
No.
You know, because usually it works.
No, not the Hinsdale house, right? Which was formerly the I forget the name. We just did the episode.
I know, we
right?
did.
It'll come to me 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, I was just thinking when I heard that she failed, and I was just like, oh wow, it's relatively rare you hear somebody failing on it, but when they do, it's because it's a bad place.
Right.
You know, it's too much.
Yeah, so they moved out.
I wonder why.
Yeah, they couldn't make it stop. So now Jan, she did write about her experiences in the house, and she called it spindrift, spray from a psychic sea. In it,
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
Right.
in it, she recounts what it was like to live in this possessed house. So she called it a possessed house. Now, shortly after finishing her manuscript, she actually passed away from mysterious circumstances, which also leads credence to the curse, aspect of the house. Now, and this is just a little interesting thing. Dennis, who lives a floor down from where Jan lived, says he believes the accounts in her book. The first copy he got was when he was browsing for books about the occult. A copy of the book fell off the shelf and into his hands. He's owned the book about 10 times now. For some reason, the copies keep disappearing.
So first it wanted to be found, and then it
Right.
up and buggers off.
I know.
I wonder what the security is like in this apartment place.
Doesn't sound that good.
And it's a very specific thief that they've
Right.
got. It's very specific.
Now, the paranormal experiences of the House of Death have apparently spread to the neighboring homes on the street as well. Now, Nash, I think you got some interesting tidbits here for me.
Yeah, and so I was reading about this, and I'm like, hold on for a second. This is pretty powerful to be in this one house. And so I started looking at Greenwich Village and Greenwich. Now you see Greenwich. I started looking at the village and saying, it kind of made me go, okay, well, how big is Greenwich Village? And so I kind of zoomed out a little bit of a map, and I started looking around the area, and it turns out that 3 blocks from this house is the Washington Square Park. Now, Washington Square Park is the former burial ground of at least 20,000 Native American bodies.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's some kookiness going on. It's the Lenape tribe, Lenape, so Lenape, I don't know, tribe. So I'm thinking immediately my mind goes to poltergeist, and there's an Indian burial ground underneath everything.
Right.
It's 4 blocks. Within Greenwich Village, there's 2 different colleges. There's NYU and I'm lost on the other one, but there's another college right there. Okay. But 4 blocks away is the Nyu Brown Building. Now, in 1911, the top floor of this building burned. Okay. And when that happened, at least 146 people died during this fire.
Wow.
And I don't know if it was at the same time, but there are reported at least 50 people who jumped out of this building and died, committed suicide and died. Wow. So that's only a couple blocks away. And Greenwich Village isn't very big. Now, there's right down the street, there's Gay Street. At 12 Gay Street, there is a sighting of a ghost in a cloak and a top hat that appears every once in a while in one of the top windows. So that made me think of shadow men.
Okay.
Down the street, Jefferson Market Library, it used to be a women's prison. So only good, happy things happen in prisons, right? And not atrocities across the world. And inmates still are haunting that prison right now. Down the street, everything is down the street from this place. Down the street is a place called Chumley's, and if you see the front door of Chumley's, it looks like it's a green. It looks like it's a green. It looks like it's an iron door that is meant to never ever be opened.
Oh.
And it's a pretty cool looking door. I would like to have it for my bathroom.
Okay.
But
because it looks like something you never want to open this
don't
door.
open this door. Trust me, you do not want to open this door.
Oh boy.
So Chumley's used to be, or it is anyway, a speakeasy where the owners, Henrietta, and of course I only wrote down Henrietta, but she had a husband who was the owner at the time. She can be found even now, her ghost anyway, sitting by the fireplace, just kind of chilling and hanging out, or throwing bottles off of their shelves. So I figured that happens.
Sounds like she's part cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if that happens at like 2:00 in the morning or like 1:45 when it's time to close the doors or something like that.
Right.
So the area of Manhattan is just peppered, and Greenwich Village is just such a tight, small little area. And so that got me thinking, okay, well, is this place a magnet for, intense emotions and whatnot? And I found 2 other things in Manhattan, on Manhattan Island, that could really be responsible for so much negativity.
Oh, can't wait to hear this.
Yeah.
You ready? It's a big one. It's a big one. You ready? Manhattan is also the home for the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. So that's where all the stock trading, when you see like trading places and they're on the floor doing their thing, or people getting heart attacks all the time in the NASDAQ and they're doing floor trading and whatnot. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, well, no kidding. This is a hotbed of just negativity and energy just packed into a small little area. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's partly responsible. It kind of made itself kind of polarize the island and Greenwich Village with these things that had happened to. So these spirits can't go anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, I just was amazed by how much is packed into such a short little amount of space.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No underground government facilities? Did you find anything?
Well, I did not find that because it is a little teeny tiny island.
True.
So, I mean, they could be there, but I as soon as I read that the NASDAQ was there and the NYSE, I was like, oh, well, duh. There you go. There's enough negativity right there. It sounds like what's his name's castle in Ireland.
Yeah.
That I can't even think of his name. It was who made the spirits, made it like a polarized area. Oh, my gosh. Ozzy Osbourne sang about him. Aleister Crowley.
Oh, okay. Mr. Crowley.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
That took us on a journey
yeah.
through the Isle of Manhattan.
Yeah, and then I just thought, well, this is the murder death house or whatever is such a hotbed of activity, but I'm thinking this is going to be like every block. There's going to be some place that somebody died in, and the spirits can't go anywhere because this island is just so packed with negativity.
Right.
Yeah. Why don't we take a right turn and go back to the death house and see what else we got cooking?
Yeah. Now, I did want to mention, not just in the house itself, but yes, the homes nearby it, they have seen, a lot of people have seen a spirit that is wearing a white gown. They've also seen a disappearing cat. So it's not just in this house. But
What did the disappearing cat say? Bamf.
He shows up, bamf, and then he does a Cheshire cat smile and bamf.
now I'm going to finish with one thing, which this is a very horrific thing that happened there. Now,
Because all the other stuff was so pleasant.
Yeah, the other stuff is, it's fine.
No,
Well,
this is true horror.
Yeah.
Horrific thing that went down.
Yeah. Now on November 2nd, 1987, around 6:40 in the morning.
Gosh. Oh, this is terrible to even think about.
I know. 911 operators got a phone call from Hedda Nussbaum, a children's author. Her 6-year-old daughter, Lisa, wasn't breathing, so an ambulance was sent to the house. Now, when paramedics arrived, they found Lisa lying naked and unresponsive on the kitchen floor, and her brother Mitchell was tied to a playpen and soaked in his own urine. Nussbaum herself was covered with bruises and had several broken bones. On their way to the hospital, paramedics, they were unable to revive Lisa. Now, investigators found a stash of marijuana, cocaine, over 20 crack pipes, and $25,000 in cash at the apartment. Lisa's autopsy revealed that her cause of death was repeated blunt force trauma to the skull. Oh, God. Yeah. It was charged that after a cocaine binge, Joel Steinberg, who he's a lawyer, but he lived with Hedda, was her partner. He violently beat both Lisa and Hedda. Joel was found guilty, spent some time in jail, and was released in 2004. It was also uncovered that both Lisa and Mitchell were illegally adopted after the parents of the kids paid Joel to find someone to adopt them. So he did it.
So he just basically took them.
Yeah.
He took whatever money that they had and just took them.
Yep. Now, what is interesting about this, and the reason I'm bringing this up, is that since this horrific crime, the ghosts have kind of been quiet for the most part. So was this too grisly of a thing for the spirits to handle? I don't know.
Yeah, and I didn't see anywhere if the spirits were like evil spirits causing mayhem, or were they just kind of hanging out and chilling, you know?
Well, I mean, that one lady who wrote the book, they were leaving like rotten food on her table.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least mischievous.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But nobody's like getting pushed downstairs or you know, getting beat up or something. So it might be that this horrific event could have just
made them quiet down. I don't know.
Yeah, because they were freebasing cocaine. After he had beaten his one daughter, she was still kind of lying on the floor. They came back and were freebasing cocaine until 4 o'clock in the morning with her still unconscious on the floor. These utter pieces of garbage. And how do you get paroled in 2004 when you murdered a little kid?
Right. I know.
Did you see that picture of her? Oh, she's such a cute, darling little girl.
I wish the ghosts would have taken them out.
Yeah, 100%.
Before they hurt the kids.
Yeah.
No, and I don't think Hedda really got in a whole lot of trouble for this, but she was doing the cocaine with him, right? And she let her daughter lay there.
Right.
Like, I just don't.
That's a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah, sorry. I hated that I had to bring that up, but I just wanted to mention that, the ghosts kind of stopped since that.
It's called the House of Death.
Yeah.
But maybe for more reasons than just the spirits that haunt it, obviously.
Right,
This horrific thing went down.
Did you guys find any rental rates for any of the rooms there?
No, I didn't look that up.
I was trying to find
You want
out.
to invest in some property?
Well, I was looking at rental rates for the surrounding buildings and whatnot, and I was astounded by what it costs to live in Greenwich Village.
Okay, I'm going to throw a guess out. For an apartment?
Yes.
Oh, it's a couple grand, I'm sure,
I was
a month.
going to go $27,000, $2,800.
You buy apartments there. You don't rent them.
Oh, okay. Well,
I bet you
then-
that's cheap for rent, too, what I just said. I bet you I have no idea how expensive it is.
So I was looking for some of the apartments. The apartments, they look kind of renovated, but they were in the 1 to 2 million.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah, because it's Greenwich. There's so much money passing through Manhattan.
Yep.
It's like one of the wealthiest places in the country.
But it's cheaper to live in Greenwich.
Well, that's what I was like. Well, I bet you could rent a room there. I wonder what it would cost, And I tried to look it up, and I couldn't find anything. And part of me was like, "Thank God, please tell me that nobody's living there."
No.
What? Go ahead.
I was going to say, interesting fact, Edgar Allan Poe actually lived on the block. He was in number 17.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah.
And that's where he first read where he first did the reading of The Raven.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was right in that neighborhood.
Nice.
Can you imagine going to the store and being like, "Hey, Ed, what's up?" And he's like, "What do you want?" Because he would just be out there sitting on the stoop, reading a book.
Having a drink.
Having a drink, kicking back, doing a little Netflix and chill. I don't know. I that made me want to go to Greenwich Village just to see, so I could be there. Mm-hmm. But there's no chance that I would even go in the front door of that place.
Oh, I'd go in for sure.
You would?
Oh, yeah.
I'd want to go in with some of the equipment and check it out. And,
Yeah. See if there's...
Yeah.
Maybe the spirits are just waiting for someone to come.
I mean, that would be the ultimate to bump into Mark Twain.
oh,
His ghost.
man.
Yeah.
I was just thinking because it was like I was trying to find out because obviously the house is cursed, but I was wondering if there was a curse in place for that land before the building was built, because something with that house has contained everything. I don't know. That's what I was kind of trying to find out, and I was having a heck of a time finding anything on it.
Yeah, I think the first residents of this house, when it was first built, they didn't have any issues. So
Right.
I don't know if something happened or did something.
Maybe they were involved
Yeah.
in some dark stuff.
I don't know.
Satanic
That's right.
worship. Oh,
That's
yeah.
right.
There was a cult in the basement.
Or some goats. Goats and chickens, and you know what they were doing with those guys, you know what I'm saying?
Farming.
Farming. Cooking up the chicken.
All right. That's the Death House in Greenwich Village, New York. Very interesting story. Yeah. I thought that was super cool. Outside of that one a-hole that killed his kid.
I
Yeah,
know.
aside from that atrocity that happened there, it was a really interesting place. Like I said, I wouldn't mind going to see it, but I don't know if I'd go inside. Because if it is truly a curse, and
You don't
apparently,
want that to stick to you.
yeah, the
bring it
curse.
home.
Apparently, the curse follows you out if you're in there. That kind of, I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what followed out. What's her face? Jane Bartell. It followed her to another residence. I don't know.
It'd be fun to go in there and shoot floating logs. That'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool, like Duck Hunt almost.
Yes. That'd be awesome. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with listener feedback, a listener story, and gosh knows what else. We'll be right back.
Biff.
And we're back. All right. Thanks again, everyone. That was an interesting story.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts on any of that? Dave?
The
Did you have any thoughts at all on it?
Yeah. The only random thought, I wonder if Val Kilmer spent time there to...
Learn how to do Mark Twain.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
That's just a random thought. I have nothing for or against that. But yeah.
Well, he is a method actor.
Right.
He
So
is.
maybe he did. Yeah.
I want to know about the zoning of these houses when it comes to real estate disclosures, especially with the death house. If you don't know it's a death house and you go to buy it, I mean, does that have to be disclosed? Because I think
some states they require it, and I think New York is one of them. You have to say whether you're haunted or not. But
I think it's in the state of Pennsylvania that you do not have to disclose if somebody died in the house.
oh, okay.
Was you pointed out that you don't rent apartments in New York?
You buy them.
Yeah, I was going to ask before, what would assuming it was a rental, then what were the conversations between the people renting and the owners?
Yeah, if you're walking through and you're like, oh, it's beautiful, you'll love it. Look at the crown moldings. Oh, it's lovely. The trim, the natural woodwork. Don't mind the rotting fruit on the tables over here. It happens from time to time.
Boy.
Just write your check out and you'll be fine.
That would be, I guess now some questions you got to ask when you're looking at property.
Yeah.
God, it's beautiful. I love it. One last question. Was anybody ever murdered in this house?
Right.
Yeah, you'd want to know.
Well, even then, there's even now cats. There was a cat. There's been cats on here. Ghost cats.
Yeah.
It's my worst nightmare.
Well, I'm wondering, I forget all the details now, but
To live with ghost cats, not ghost
Right,
cats.
right, yeah.
Just to have to see kittens run around.
Right.
Oh, that'd be
The
awesome.
Well,
the
you
death
know.
cat or demon cat of Washington, didn't it disappear? Like, could this be the same cat that's just taking a trip to New York?
Oh, nice.
Maybe. YOLO.
Yeah.
That's what we named the cat. Go back to episode whatever. Yeah.
Traveling through time with Lincoln. Was it with Lincoln?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, solving crimes, righting the wrongs.
Right. Yep.
Never wrote that, but maybe it's best I never tried to write that comic book. That would be hilarious.
That might be good for them to pop in or then pop out of in a comic book. Just a quick cameo of them
In the background.
Yeah. They come in, they pop through, and they're like, "Wait a minute, wrong time." And you can see Abe Lincoln and the cat looking through, like
Like an Easter egg.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
If you listen to the show and you see it in the comic book, you're like, there it is. Right.
because we're righting wrongs in the comic book, most likely. And then they show up and they're like, "Oh, hopefully they got it." You know.
We need to have a issue of the comic book where we meet our bizarro selves.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to fight like the negative versions of everyone. But then in Scott Pilgrim, maybe we all be best friends.
Right.
Let's see. What would be our negatives, our bizarros of each of us?
Well, we just, like in Star Trek, just we're evil and all have goatees, including Alicia.
Well, no, for you, for some of us, we would not have to have goatees.
Oh, that's right.
We'd be clean shaven.
Right.
And then, my guy would be like a picky eater and skinny. They'd be like, "Who is this?" I don't know. This is Nash? Really? Okay.
Well, okay, that comic book idea. It just went downhill.
You just heard the toilet flush as he went down the tubes.
All right, why don't we jump into some listener feedback brought to you by our Patreon, where we have fun podcasts, sometimes videos, but mostly podcasts. Check it out if you're into some extra content. If you feel like you need to hear more of us talking in your ear, that's where you'll find us. Okay. Might need to think about that commercial I just did. Wasn't the best.
But you didn't give the addresses and stuff of where to find us.
Oh, yeah, just go to Patreon, .com/Paranormal Punchers, or just search us on Patreon. Yeah, check it out. All right. We heard from Steven. Hey, y'all. I just found the podcast about 3 days ago, and I'm already 47 episodes deep.
Wow.
I've been looking for something that's paranormal and or conspiracy since I got caught up on the last podcast on the left, and quite frankly, I forgot they released a new episode because I was too caught up with listening to you guys.
Aw.
That's a fabulous compliment, Steven.
Wow.
I know.
Thank you so much. Y'all are awesome, and I'm going to be very upset when I get caught up and have to wait for new P-Punchers episodes too. Sorry.
Well, he still has like 90 some odd episodes to go.
Well, he sent this in a few days back, so he might be caught up.
I was going to say, by that, he went through so many in a day.
I know. And he continues here. I just got to the Project Montauk episode, and to be honest, I'm surprised I haven't heard any food analogies.
There was none in Montauk? Wow.
I'm shocked.
I
that,
am shocked.
So am I. I try to work one in every time.
You usually are successful.
Yeah, I didn't on this episode either.
Yeah.
Well, we're still going.
Okay.
Nash finds a way.
Yeah, that's right.
Stephen continues, I've been trying to figure out which personal experience of mine I wanted to share with you guys. I think I found it. I grew up in Houston. It was constantly hanging out with my dad. He moved my family down there for a job. Anyway, he was always telling me about ghosts, cryptids, mostly Bigfoot, and the times he saw UFOs. In 2001, we moved in with my grandparents in a small town just outside of Tulsa, where I still live. Just not in that house. In December 2009, he was diagnosed with cancer. He passed away in January of 2010. A couple of days before his funeral, we had a family gathering. My aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, like everyone was there. It was loud in the house with everybody talking, But my mom and I swear that we heard my dad say something and then laugh. That wasn't the only thing that happened. My dad had this thing where if I was on the computer in our living room, he would walk over, check on me, then go to the bathroom and go back to bed. It was almost a ritual, and I could always feel his footsteps. Well, 2 months after he passed, I was minding my business at the computer. At about 2:30 or so, I felt footsteps come up behind me. I turned around, expecting to see my grandmother or grandfather, but no one was there. So I turned around and put my headphones back on, just in time to feel the footsteps retreat. I quickly took my headphones back off to hear the bathroom door shut. I got up to go investigate. Of the 4 people in the house that night, I was the only one awake. I went back to the computer and sat for a minute before the bathroom door opened and closed again. Now, determined to catch someone or something, I ran to the bathroom. Again, it was just me. I'm still convinced that it was him.
Wow.
In 2014 or so, my uncle, my dad's youngest brother, moved into my grandparents' house. He told me multiple times that he saw my dad standing in the kitchen. When she was 2 or 3, my oldest daughter would be standing in the living room alone and just talking. I asked her who she was talking to, and it was always the same answer. Paw Mike. There was one of those my body is asleep, but my mind is awake moments when he and I carried on a full conversation.
Wow.
But after that, I didn't experience anything else. I've since moved out, and my wife knows that that's one of my favorite experiences, even of all time, of doing ghost hunts.
Aww.
Sorry I wrote a novella. Just really wanted to share this with you, Stephen. Stephen, thank you. Thank you for sharing this personal story with us. It means a ton. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We heard from Bounty Hunters at Bounty H Pod. Paranormal Punchers, shout out to the Paranormal Punchers. Their show is awesome. Well, thank you.
Yep.
And we may be appearing on an episode of their audio drama about paranormal bounty hunters.
Do we get to be bounty hunters?
Paranormal bounty hunters. Oh, are we going to know we're not bounty hunters?
That'd be awesome. That would be a good comic, too.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe they're doing that. We heard from Jason Walker. Hey, guys. I hope all is well. I wrote a new children's book. It would be cool if you check it out. And the book is called, you can find this on Amazon, it's called The Little Ghostly Ghost. The Little Ghostly Ghost is a children's book about a little ghost that lives in an old haunted house in small town Oklahoma. Kids always dare each other to go up to this old house and touch the door, or better yet, see who is brave enough to go inside. One night, a group of friends all decide to go inside, and they discover there is a little ghost living there who just wants to run and play just like they do. So if that sounds super fun, go check it out. Maybe your kids will really dig it.
Yeah.
The Little Ghostly Ghost. All right. We heard from Bigfoot Med Doc 1. Bigfoot Me Doc. Med Doc.
That would be 2 Ds, though. Med Doc.
Bigfoot Me Doc 1.
Okay.
He knows who I'm talking about out there. In reference to the Devil's Tramping Grounds. I've been there and investigated 4 separate times many years ago. Here's something that happened to him. I'm sure you heard of the devil circling this circle. You can hear the rustling leaves as he walks and runs around this circle. Well, that happened to us on one of our investigations. We had our paranormal gear and we're standing in the circle. It was a full night, about 33 degrees, and we were taking readings, asking questions, etc. And out of nowhere, something rustled the leaves around the circle and moved quickly in a circle movement, and the leaves right along the edge of the circle. And went from one side to the other and back to the other side twice. Then it stopped as quick as it started.
33 degrees.
That's cold.
That's a warm night.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, when they were in the circle taking some readings and trying to, after that incident, it went, they were asking some questions and taking temperatures that dropped from 33 down to 9.
Wow. Holy moly.
Yeah.
I just think the devil would be really comfortable in that kind of temperature.
Right. It goes against where the devil is. He's a little down south. It's warm down there. I would have to put on some pants. My goodness. That's kind of chilly.
You would still have your shorts on.
You're probably right. You're probably right.
Well, that's really super cool. That was an episode we talked about that, and I thought because it's just so close to the road, maybe you wouldn't get much paranormal activity because cars going by or whatnots. But hey, that sounds super interesting. Yeah. We heard from Josh. Have you guys heard of MUFON? Yes, we have.
Yeah.
I was contacted by them and thought it was a joke at first, but I Googled it and they are real. And also, has Nash heard of SCP story about Bigfoot?
I'm familiar
about the SCP story about Bigfoot.
No, but I'm familiar with the SCP Institute or Foundation or whatever the heck it's called. Evan was into YouTubing that and getting story after story after story. So not that specific one, but I have heard of the SCP.
Okay. Well, I asked him what he's talking about because I wasn't sure. But MUFON contacted him about a sighting he had when they were camping in the mountains. Now, I read this, it was episodes and episodes ago, but they were camping and they saw like 3 orange orbs in the sky. The very next morning, there was like Apache helicopters circling that area. Well, that's the story they contacted him about. So that's Josh. Give us some updates.
Yeah, no kidding.
On that. But the Bigfoot, the SCP story about Bigfoot is that at one time, long time ago, I guess, we used to kick it with Bigfoot, like on back in the hunter-gatherer days.
Okay.
We were friends. Bigfoot was super smart, and somehow we destroyed them and took away their higher level of thinking. So have you ever heard that theory?
I mean, I can imagine that when food was scarce, they're basically, I don't know how early man would view them, but I could see them viewing them as an animal and basically killing them and eating them. And their fur, they were fur, so I could see something like that happening. But I have not heard that story, but I'm going to go listen to it now.
I like the idea of kicking it with Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Going out, foraging. Yeah. I like it.
I wonder if that's which version of Bigfoot, the friendly berry-eating friend in nature Bigfoot, or the one with the big sharp fangs that will kill anything?
Well, in this one, I assume the more friendlier one because they were supposed to be super smart.
Right.
Yeah.
Smarter than us. It's probably not too hard to do.
Yeah, I was just like,
We heard from Andy. UFO sighting today. My friend and I were watching a helicopter circle the next block over. Some sort of crime scene. Police tape, sheriff, coroner's van, etc. When something shiny caught my eye near a poofy cloud really high up above the helicopters. I thought it was a plane, so I waited for it to come out from the other side of the cloud, and it did. But it came out from behind the cloud into a break in the clouds, but instead of continuing through the sky, it did an immediate forward to backwards direction change and went back behind the poofy cloud. My friend asked if I saw it, too, so we both saw it and watched for another few minutes, but it didn't return.
I've always long hypothesized that they would use they would disguise themselves as clouds.
Right?
That was wasn't that in a movie somewhere where they
the Shields helicarrier kind of disguised himself as like clouds.
Yeah, like a cloud. And I thought that's perfect because you don't even think about it. They're always up there. But what if that's really an alien in there?
Now, every time you look at a poofy cloud, it may be an alien.
I'll shake my fist and go, you suckers.
That's what you're going to do?
Yeah, you suckers. Go find a cow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Nash is encouraged not to offend the aliens lest you start an internet or intergalactic
this rear end is closed. Go find a cow.
Oh, boy.
You're not probing me.
Well, I just need a whole video of you shouting at clouds like that.
Done. There's our next Patreon episode right there. Those running around aimlessly shouting at clouds.
Yes, actually. That'd be hilarious. We heard from Chromos. Hey, guys. How are you today?
Pretty good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just waking up from a long night of ghost hunting in Tombstone. Pretty sure Nash has something to say about that movie, too.
Well, I said plenty about Tombstone, but I saw that he was down in Tombstone, and it made me kind of like my heart was warmed. And I was like, oh, he's in Tucson. That's so nice.
It's been a blast down here. Got to say, there's a lot of crazy stories past the original shootout that happened. From bordello fights ending in stabbings,
Ooh.
call girls falling from walking on the roof,
As they do.
demons demon-type entities ravaging ladies who stay in certain hotel rooms,
Oh, God.
a fella shooting himself after he thought he killed his wife in the middle of town, to ghostly figures still walking down the paths of the streets of Tombstone. I personally felt and heard something walking behind me several times going down the walkways. I even felt someone brush up on me. Very strange feeling. Others in my group had the same experience. Took lots of photos, got only a few good hits. One was a strange light in Boot Hill Cemetery and a face in the window where it is said that a ghost that watches over the street where that guy shot himself. Hope you all like this update and let you know if anything else pops up. Going to be there for the next 3 days.
Wow.
Oh, well, if you're still there, if you're still in Tucson, Cromos, please, please, please stop by the local Los Betos and get a carne asada burrito. Because I got to tell you, they're the best in the whole wide world. And if you're there for breakfast, yeah, the chorizo and egg burrito for breakfast, oh, it's to die for. You'll love it. Oh, my gosh.
If you're playing along at home, you can check that box. Yeah, bingo!
Bingo! Oh, I miss those carne asada burritos so much. Oh, my gosh.
I'm hungry for that now. We heard from Rockville Red. 5 stars on Apple. Binge this. I love listening to this group. When they laugh, it makes me laugh. Great stories and interesting takes on all things spooky. Thanks, Rockville
Yeah,
Red.
thank you.
Thank you.
You want to send us feedback? Go to paranormalpunches.com. You'll find all the ways to reach out to us. Plus, if you listen to us on Apple, give us a review.
Yeah.
A review. Can I say that better? Drop us a review. We'd love it. We'd love it. It helps the show. All right. Now, here is like a movie idea
Okay.
that Kevin J dropped on us. Kevin J also sent us the hot sauce we used in our Halloween trivia
very
special.
Good. Very good.
It was really hot.
It was hot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. What about you, Dave?
I really liked it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to read this. If everybody just picture this movie in your mind's eye, and then let us know what you think. I think it's a fun idea. So he starts off, "Hey guys, so I listened to the weekend show at work today, and you guys were recapping previous shorts and such that you made, and it gave me an idea. Here it goes. A kid shows up at Funk, looking for Mark from the Paranormal Punchers. The barkeep points towards a disheveled Mark, who is in the corner with several empty bottles in front of him. The kid asks Mark if he's Mark. Mark responds angrily that he doesn't sign anything unless it's delivered by a sheriff. Kid makes a plea that he needs the Paranormal Punchers' help. Mark snaps back. The whole thing was bullshit. It was a podcast and some stupid comic books. Then he recounts that the last Paranormal Punchers investigation where Dave disappeared in a flash of light. Lish ended up leaving him because I guess I'm telling this kid, unloading this entire story on this kid. So Dave disappeared in a flash of light. Lish ended up leaving me because I became obsessed with finding Dave. Now, in the story right there, like, that's pretty harsh to leave me when I'm concerned about finding Dave or solving what happened to Dave. But okay.
I guess the bond between Lish and Dave is just not that strong.
Lish ended up leaving him because he became obsessed with finding Dave, and all he was left with was Nash. The kid begs Mark to listen to an EVP. Mark agrees to listen to the kid if the kid will beat it. It's Dave's voice asking Mark to help him. Mark looks shocked and shows up at Lish's door because he needs help and a ride. Man, what happened to my life?
Well, when Lish left, you fell to pieces, man. You crumbled. Yeah.
Drinking in the corner at Funk.
Yeah, but that's called Tuesday.
That's work. After a brief recap, Lish kicks Mark out, threatening to call the cops because he knows he shouldn't be there anymore.
Oh, there's a restraining order too.
Oh boy.
Nice.
Mark goes to Nash for help. Nash is under house arrest for trying to prove his underground base theory.
Yeah, okay.
Mark goes alone to the kid's house where he sees Dave as an apparition and records the conversation. Dave explains he's not dead. It's far more complicated than that. And the whole team needs to be... I love how Dave's telling me, look, man, it's too complicated for you. But the whole team needs to be here to help bring me back. So Mark shows the footage to Nash and Lish. Nash is in. Lish tells Mark off.
Again.
Calling the whole thing a sick joke. Nash and Mark go to the house where Dave disappeared and encounter a nasty poltergeist demon thing. Lish shows up to save the day with, "I couldn't be the reason Dave is trapped forever" line. I'm sure you shoved save. Nash and I were there. We're ready to do it. The three of them together allow Dave to pass through the pudding skin. Dave beats the demon into submission. And the kid shows up, revealing that he's actually a ghost and that trapping Dave for a few months, well, it sounded more like a year, for a few months on the other side was the only way to get someone who would be able to literally beat the demon who was holding his soul there. The punches are back together. Mark and Lish reconcile, and Nash goes to prison for breaking his house arrest.
Oh, what?
I got a few more details, but it's hard to type these things on a phone. Anyway, if you like it and want to make it cool, I'll take a writing credit. If not, that's cool too. Like I said, I thought of this while I was taking the stems off bushels of habaneros.
Nice.
You know, I bet I would go to prison. I'd be happy. I'd be like, no, I understand. We did our job. We brought him back. The question that I have, though, in that whole thing, I like it, is what is the sound that you coming through the pudding skin, coming back through the pudding skin?
The pudding spoon?
When you pop through, what is the sound associated? Is it like a kind of a thing, or is it like a squishy, membrane kind of a thing?
I don't even want to think about
Both
it.
ways you're describing it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
I'm not so
I don't
sure.
want to know.
If it's like squish, you know what I mean?
He's got to push through it and rip through it.
Yeah, like
Like Ace Ventura coming out of that rhino in the butt. Sorry, Dave. That's the scene. That's the shot.
Right. Yep.
I like it.
I'm glad we reconciled. It's nice. I'm glad that I'm only person I have left in the world is Nash. And he's on house arrest.
I'm on house arrest.
So what do I'm always coming over to play video games and drink beers because you can't go out.
Well, I'm thinking that in the story there might be a way that I could figure out that I think I know how I can block the signal. Do you know what I mean? So that I could go do that, like wrapping it with tinfoil or something
Right.
like that. Yeah.
You manufacture a tinfoil suit to wear,
Yeah, that's right.
and that's how you leave the house.
That's right. And then as we all come out of the house, they're showed up by the police. They show up and they're like, Nash, you're coming with us.
Yeah, I like the ending. Everything's working out perfectly, and then the cops show up and take you away.
Yeah, you know, that's all right. But I go willingly because I understand.
What would you have to do to be under house arrest? What kind of activity were you up to trying to prove underground base theory that you actually got arrested for it?
Breaking
You
into
probably
stuff.
went by yourself to Area 51.
Right.
Yeah, breaking in, going on government.
Trespassing.
Yeah, trespassing. You know, phone calls that are not should be made. You shouldn't make those phone calls.
But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be something so egregious that they'd send you to prison, but it's just something where they didn't want you to.
Right.
Don't come
She did
back.
it,
Yeah.
Right, and in that Ant-Man movie, they track your movements throughout the house just to make sure that you're not just like tied to a bedpost, you know. And so I don't want to, I don't have a giant ant to tie it to. So
Right.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we'll make that movie, but I like the idea. I kind of like the idea of, having the movie like start when things are just bad,
Right.
and having some flashbacks and getting details revealed about. But you were trapped in this weird pudding skin,
Right.
So what if you also come out a bit crazy? So
crazier.
crazier. So then the sequel,
Right. Well,
you want to go back because maybe on the other side you also met a lady.
maybe. But I'm thinking
weird demon.
The time that I was away caused a balance of power shift in the Hollow Earth, and now there's a civil war going on, and I got to go reclaim my throne.
Where you come back, and as you come back, you come back through the pudding skin, and like the old that old show V. You see V from back in the day?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, with Mark Singer.
I think so.
And you come through the pudding skin, and half of his the face skin is off, and it's reptilian underneath because it's just been worn off from being on the other side.
Huh.
We find out that Dave really is a hybrid.
Or what we pulled through the pudding skin was not Dave.
Maybe, yeah. You're a doppelganger.
That we all have to go back through. Okay. We're pretty far off track.
I kind of like that version. He comes through and it's not Dave.
not
and
Dave.
We discover you melt or something like that.
Right.
And then we're like, this is not Dave. And then we dive into it.
We have to go through the pudding skin.
Boy.
So that's the subtitle of the sequel, Paranormal Punchers Through the Pudding Skin.
Right.
And there we go.
And that one's going to be like the Empire. So it's not going to end.
Somebody's got to have a hand cut
It's
off.
going to end like on a little bit of a downer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Dave, we find him frozen in carbonite.
Right.
Oh, yeah. You got to get your hand
As he's
cut
going
off.
down, he looks at me and I'm like, I love you. He's like, I know.
I know.
Wait, as he's going down, I mean, down into the carbonite.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa. Easy.
Just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure everybody understood what I was saying. All right.
Oh, boy.
On that note, whoa, I just got to wrap it up.
Oh, you just got the hand signals. You're done.
From the wife, it looks like
You guys just
we're going to
recon-
be on the outs.
And
It's
you-
like I'm sleeping on Nash's couch.
You just reconciled too. I mean,
Hey, man, you know this show gets a little weird in the second half. We just like riff and have a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made you smile. I hope you're having an awesome October. Hope you're watching some scary movies.
and Dune.
And yes, Dune.
And Dune.
There'll be a Dune review on the weekend show on our Patreon coming soon. And Nash is very excited. All right, anything else, anyone? Bueller?
Nope.
Nope.
No, I just like the sound as you come through the pudding skin.
Don't even. I don't want to comment. Yeah. All right, so hey, remember, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.